Are we live?
Testing, testing. Yep.
You know, one thing I want to do, I want to spend some money on sound.
Well, we're leaving.
I know, but we're still going to need to. You ready? I welcome you all to our September 3rd meeting. We'll stand for the pledge and we'll have a moment of silence following that. Oh, is there a, Billy, would you lead it, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The packet was big, but I hope the meeting is not quite as long. But we'll just proceed. Welcome to all those folks that I see some new faces. I just did a fast introduction. We have Deb Verley, our administrative assistant. And we have Mrs. Pruitt, who is our auditor, commissioner from the 1st District, Mr. Collier, commissioner from the 2nd District, Mr. Hale, I'm Mr. Adams from the 3rd, and our attorney is Ann Colger. That's here on the front table. Josh Messmer's sitting out there keeping an eye on us. He's our county administrator, and we're blessed to have him. We also have some city folks. Thought I saw the mayor. I thought I saw him. Oh, there he is. He's back there waving. Morning, Mayor. And we have our county, or city engineer, and they're very busy right now, keeping things active, Mr. Oakes. And we've got some other people that do business with the county. Oh, the sheriff, can't forget the sheriff. And the jail commander, the major. Gentlemen, appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. First order of business is our claims, which is very thick because they included the payroll, which is amazing.
What's amazing, that we were able to make it again?
Yeah. Well, it was so long, you don't realize that we have, and my comment on that, on the thing is that it sounds like a lot of money, but where does it go? It goes right back into the businesses and the banks and the filling stations and McDonald's. Places. I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion we approve the claims in the amount of $6,275,845.73.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. That's a lot of hamburgers, isn't it? We now adjourn the commission meeting very briefly for a public hearing. I think we need to do that officially. Do we have to call a public hearing? We need to adjourn it for recess, a short recess for a public hearing.
It was my favorite class in school. Recess, yeah.
That's how we ended up here.
I think we have a lot in common.
It's amazing, isn't it? We ought to take a recess committee and say, these are future commissioners or whatever.
There we go.
I'll entertain the motion to recess.
So moved.
Motion is passed 3-0. We are in recess for a public hearing. Mr. Messmer.
Good morning, gentlemen. So I'm going to give a little bit of background before we turn the floor over to any public comment. So the reason we're doing this public hearing is we're doing a BOT out in the Waverly area to add a lift station. This is a project that we were awarded grant money through the Ready funding to the tune of about $1.3 million, and it required a match of around $600,000, which you gentlemen are using ARPA for, and the RDC has also agreed to pay about half of that. Only about $300,000 will come from ARPA. The process here, We're going to have a couple action items after this public hearing. We have this hearing. There's a recommendation letter that's in your packet that was also in your packet last week. Then there's a resolution we'll ask for action on today, and then there's a BOT agreement. The way we do it this way, the BOT process is different than normal procurement methods. We put out an RFPQ earlier this year. We had a couple firms submit. Committee selects a team that they think they want to work with. You enter what's called a scoping phase, where you essentially work through design, make sure you can get to a project that is attainable and they can be funded. And then once you get that, then you enter this public hearing phase. Got to pass a resolution to award the project and then enter it into a contract. So that's kind of a brief overview of what we're doing and why we're doing it. If you guys have any questions, happy to address them. Otherwise, I'll turn the floor over to any public comment.
Thank you, Josh, and thanks for, so we can hear a little better, especially for me, because I left my ears on the table this morning. Hustled out. First of all, do we have any questions about what Josh was referring to and speaking toward? It sounds a little confusing sometimes to know that this process is in fact for the public so that they know what we're up to. And I especially want to know Mr. Rhodes, make sure he keeps track of it, because both he and the newspaper keep us all informed about what we're doing. And I don't want anything, that's one of the blessings of liberty, I guess, that we're trying to maintain. So are there any questions on the reason for the public hearing? Any questions from the board? Well, there's a lot of work that goes into it, I will say that, before we get to this point. But this is where it starts, and this is how we continue to progress in this county. And I appreciate the work that's gone into it. I think in the public hearing as such, Josh, am I correct in just simply saying we have the public hearing, then we move on? Yeah, we'll adjourn the public meeting if there's no questions.
So moved.
Second.
Right. All in favor of the closing the public hearing, signify saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for the work that went into this. I'm astounded to get a stack of papers and see all the things we talk about, and then it comes out satisfying our legal counsel and satisfying the law. And that's what we're supposed to do. And the public. Part of that process is a resolution that you have now in front of you, gentlemen. Resolution number 2024 dash, what would it be?
9-3.
9-3. Oh, well, the date, huh? Yeah, naturally. Awarding build, operate, transfer, commonly called a BOT, and taking other related activities and other related actions. This is simply a resolution. A resolution differs from an ordinance, and a resolution that says this is a should be, this is what we should do, this is what we intend to do. An ordinance that says, it kind of passes along and says this is what's kind of like a law for, I don't see any young people out here, but that's kind of the difference between a resolution and an ordinance. And this is a resolution, and it has a lot of whereases, and I won't go through them all, but it basically, I don't think it's necessary unless anybody wants it. But it basically allows, and I'm sure, Council, you've reviewed this resolution. Ann, have you looked at it?
I've looked at, yes. It's good.
So that's the eyes I like to see it. I'll entertain a motion concerning the resolution or any questions about it before do we have any questions on the resolution?
Kenny Hill makes a motion, we approve resolution number 2024-9-3, Board of Morgan County Commissioners of award to build, operate, transfer, transaction, and certain other related actions.
Motion been made and seconded on Resolution 2024-9-3. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Also make a motion on the bond agreement for the build, operate, transfer agreement between Morgan County and Rick Mertz.
We have a motion on the BOT agreement, the build, operate, transfer agreement related to this resolution. Do we have a second? Second. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0, so we're on our way. The ARPA subrecipient agreement.
At our July 15th meeting, Banning Engineering gave a presentation on the sewer comprehensive plan that they were working on and came back with some recommendations to you all. Out of that meeting, you guys gave the directive Brian was the commissioner taking the lead, and myself to work with the town of Mooresville and the city of Martinsville on some projects that we could help assist with our ARPA funds. So since then, we've been working with legal to get a subrecipient agreement in place that meets all of the requirements of ARPA, which is what this document is. And this is a project that will allow Mooresville to fund a sewer expansion in their Flagstaff Business Park. Total project cost is around $4.7 million. The county's agreeing to partner with them in the tune of $2 million, and that's what this agreement does, is gifts that money to them to use, but they're still held to all of the ARPA obligations that we are. So they know that they have to have that money spent by the end of 2026. And if not, then it's going to be on them, not on us.
Real quick, Mr. Chairman, just, some people may ask why the county's doing this to other entities, contrary to how some things have gone in the past. When the town of Mooresville wins, the county of Morgan County wins. When the city of Martinsville wins, I'm a firm believer that Morgan County wins. And it's not Morgan County versus the city, it's not Morgan County versus the town. And I think a lot of times we've been in that position before, and that's why we don't, as a county or cities or towns, have some of the amenities that maybe some of our neighbors have gotten before we do. And so with the city sitting in here, it's a unique time in my several years of being an elected official that there is lots of coordination between government entities, and I think that's a plus when we lack a tax base that many of our neighbors have, and when we work together, what tax base we do and what tax revenue we do collect, we can utilize it much more efficiently to where more and more people win. So I'd like to thank the cities and the towns and the other government entities for being willing to trust and work with the county, and this is just one action that we're going back and working with them. As they expand, they'll get more jobs. They get more jobs, there'll be more income tax, and we can continue to improve our community.
Yep. And this won't be the last one. I mean, we've got a subrecipient agreement we're going to bring forward for Monrovia on a water project they're wanting to look at. Planning to come with another subrecipient agreement for Martinsville. So like Commissioner Collier said, I think this is a good thing. We want to work with our communities, and from a comprehensive plan point of view, you guys, commissioners before you, agreed and put out there that, hey, we want to conserve our farmland. We want to not be sprawling out, but we want to see consolidation and building up around communities, and that's what we're helping do right here.
I can't help but think in your comments, and thank you for them, but sometimes, and we've experienced it, where, as you mentioned, that we haven't all been on the same page. That's to be expected, especially since we are never on the same page athletically. That's part of the problem, really, if you think about it, which is sad, but that's America. And I wouldn't want to do away with it because I wouldn't miss a Fever game for nothing. And I enjoy rooting for my home team. But there's costs. I think the benefits of working together, and we're seeing them. I guess you'd say the benefits of not working together, I see that too. I lost a good friend off of the commissioner of Boone County, because Boone County and Lebanon are on the same page. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, but there's problems that you can have. And one of the blessings of this county is that we're working together, and that always succeeds. And thank you, Mayor, you're here. If Tom Worthing was here, and if Carol Youngblood was here, I'd say the same thing, because you all, we're seeing things, we're working where we ought to be, and I really appreciate that. It's good to be a part of it. So, I think we just recognize this agreement, or do we approve it?
Yeah, you need to approve it.
All right, I'll take a motion.
Brian Collier makes a motion on the sub-recipient agreement for the American Rescue Plan Act between Morgan County, the County of Morgan, Indiana, and the town of Mooresville.
Second.
Been made and seconded, sub-recipient agreement with the variety of communities. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for helping develop that. We have a resolution, and I didn't, did it come in late? Or do we have it? On the,
That's it.
that's it, the county obligations, okay. Pardon? On the nurse practitioner? I think that was part of the plan that Dave, Major Dave put together. Dave, you want to speak to it, please? This is David Rogers, our jail commander.
Resolution.
Extraordinaire.
Yes. So it's the same agreement we just engaged in with the nurse practitioner originally, but as we know, that was kind of in crunch time, and so we wasn't for sure exactly how the oversight for a physician to oversee the nurse practitioner so she can function as a nurse practitioner was going to work. And so we just put some language in there that we would contract, or our intent was, however, we had to compensate for it, we would. We just didn't know what language to put in there. So we are just cleaning up the language in this agreement that basically just says, instead of we will contract separately for that service, we would actually, the county agrees to pay a reimbursement up to $500 monthly for the collaboration oversight of a physician to practitioner. So we just changed that one line, put amended at the top of the agreement, and I think that satisfies what the need is for the auditor's office to proceed with paying claims as they are submitted.
And just to clarify, you went ahead and executed this agreement because of this time sensitivity of getting the payment?
Correct. However, Linda does not have that yet, because I was waiting until the meeting to make sure everything went before I sent it to her office.
So you're,
But I have a copy today for her.
you're seeking a resolution from the commissioners to approve the amended agreement with the language that has been highlighted for them with respect to the reimbursement, and also to ratify the execution by you. Correct?
That is correct.
Council, do you have any questions about it? And does that work?
I reviewed it at the time, and understanding the circumstances that we were already acknowledging in the original agreement, this was something we were gonna pay for, but originally it was, were we gonna contract separately? It's actually less onerous on us to provide her the reimbursement.
Works. We have any questions on the resolution from the members of the board? I'll entertain a motion.
But this isn't really in a resolution, this is just an amendment.
I thought we had, it's an
It says
amendment, I thought an
resolution.
agreement.
This isn't a resolution, though.
No,
We just needed an approval from the commissioners.
should be an agreement.
The amendment of the contract, no resolution.
Correct, I'm sorry, I misspoke when I said resolution.
Say,
I
motion
see.
that we accept the amendment to the
amendment.
contract.
Second.
I thought the resolution was approving the minutes. A little confusing. Gotcha. We've got a motion made and seconded to approve this agreement, and all in favor say aye.
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 And Commissioner Collier, if we could get a resolution just ratifying, because it's already been executed,
If we what now?
get a resolution ratifying the previous execution of this amended agreement, because it's been already signed. And just ratifying, Mr.
So we need to say that again. Do we need to do further action?
Mr. Collier going to make that
Do you wanna-
motion, just ratifying.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Make the motion to ratify the resolution that was already passed,
the current agreement.
to adhere to the current agreement.
The amended agreement was executed last week. So just to be clean, I would like to see a motion to ratify Dave Rogers' execution of that agreement.
Basically going back to the date it was executed, correct?
Correct.
I don't like Dave.
That we can understand, but the rest of it is still on the table.
Or I would like to ratify the resolution to go back to accept what Dave did through this proposal. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, a motion to ratify Dave Rogers' execution of the agreement which occurred last week.
No resolution. No, you added resolution.
Resolution.
You got to get rid of the resolution.
Get rid of the resolution.
Can you make a motion?
Kenny Hill makes a motion that we ratify the current contract that Dave Rogers has already executed for the nurse and the doctor, please.
I'll second. That's why we have attorneys.
True.
All in favor of the motion, and I'm just going to stop there. Say aye. Aye.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. And keep up the good work out there. Next item on our agenda is the opioid settlement agreement. For very simple language, well, Josh, you can tell how this came to be.
Thank you, Don. So in May, Keely Wright, myself, and Tricia Runyon came before you all to talk about a proposal on how we would like to handle the opioid settlement funds and run it through the Mental Health Task Force and set up a board and kind of outline the general parameters we would like to operate in. And you all said, yes, go forth, work on that. So you do have in your packet a list of members that we've proposed. That if you guys are good with that, we would like your approval. If you want to make changes, by all means, you're in charge of that process, so we can do that. In the meantime, Keely's group, the Kendrick Foundation, has led a survey trying to help gather as much information in advance of this RFP process that will start later and probably start of next year. And so she's going to summarize some of that information with you and just answer any kind of general questions you guys may have. So opioid list of members in your packet, which if you guys are good with, we would like affirmation that you're good. And then Keely's going to come up here and share some things with you.
Thank you, Josh, and good morning, commissioners.
Keely.
Yep. I'm Keely Wright. I'm the executive director of the Kendrick Foundation and also have the honor of leading our Morgan County Mental Health Task Force. As you all know, the Morgan County Mental Health Task Force is part of the Better Communities Coalition, is committed to our mission of enabling residents, service providers, and stakeholders to collaboratively assess and address the mental health needs of the community. As we prepare to help facilitate the distribution of opioid settlement funds in Morgan County, we wanted to ensure we're designing a process that will make a positive impact on community priorities and goals. During the last couple of weeks in July, the task force surveyed community members to help shape the process that will be used to select which activities and initiatives will be funded in 2025, if not before. Anyone who lives or works in Morgan County and is committed to improving mental health and well-being was encouraged to complete this survey, and all individual responses were kept confidential. So we've shared a pretty comprehensive overview of the survey results in a PowerPoint with all of you, and this quick summary of the findings. So the survey was initiated 101 times, and 64 completed the survey sufficiently to be included in the analysis. So half of the respondents said they are task force members, and half either said they're not task force members or they were unsure of their status, their membership status. So we included a lot of demographic information about the respondents, but just a few things to highlight. More than 2/3 of all respondents were female. This ratio was similar for members and non-members. 91% of respondents were white, and about half of all respondents were between the ages of 45 and 64. And then for priorities, each individual theme was rated on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 was low priority or low potential for impact, and 10 was high priority or high potential for impact. And then we averaged the responses to calculate the average rating by theme area. So there were 4 themes: awareness, education, and stigma, which rated the lowest with our members as well as non-members. However, the scores were above 7, so it doesn't mean it's not a priority or not impactful. And myself personally didn't rate anything below a 7 because it's also important. Theme 2 is prevention. Theme 3 rated the highest across the board, member, non-member, with scores of 9.0 and 8.7 respectively. So the highest priority or potential for impact goal was for us to improve our mental health provider ratio. And then theme 4 was cohesion, collaboration, and partnership, which rated second highest, I believe, which was somewhat surprising to me that it ranked higher than prevention. So I've included in this quick overview summary, there was a ton of feedback, lots of great write-in responses from members and non-members alike, and I'm not going to go through all of those. But I did want to share one that really resonated with me as far as a non-member write-in suggestion. This respondent said, the opioid settlement funds must, in all caps, be accessible by those directly impacted already by the opioid crisis, not just prevention and education. The priority must be those whose lives have already been negatively impacted or destroyed by easy access to these addictive drugs. And we must help to rebuild these lives with the bulk of these funds. And lastly, suggested priority populations. These are most commonly noted, are marginalized populations and or families who are low income, unhoused, DCS involved, LGBTQIA+, and uninsured or underinsured. And there were several more listed, but the ones that I named off were identified by both members and non-members. So that's the high-level overview. Do you have any questions that I might be able to answer? And again, these findings will help us prioritize the dollars as we go through the RFP process.
Comments, gentlemen? I'm impressed with the detail.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away when I saw
Yeah.
the PowerPoint and how comprehensive it is and all the information.
Yeah, I didn't know you could make so much out of
A community survey.
yeah, it was amazing.
And I was really happy with the strong response. 64 people
Yes, I
completed
was
it.
too. I went to a survey on the senior attitudes on something not too awfully long ago. And I think Socoa did it, but it was, I was looking at how they got their numbers and how much it was, and I frankly was disappointed. I saw that in one county, I shall not mention, but there was only 13 respondents.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I thought, making all this information on 13 people.
Right.
It didn't fit. But this fits I think we've shared before some of my opinions about surveys. And, you know, it's like, I've seen surveys that are, I guess you'd say guided, like the ones you get from your state reps. Do you want to do this or you want to die? It's not that bad, but this was a very, very well-done survey. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Gives you a lot of information, gets a lot of needs. Of course, I was a little disappointed to see that the numbers for the 18-year-old are very low, but that's expected. They don't think they're a member yet, and they are. And that's one of the jobs we have is say, you know, I look out here, if I did a survey, I don't see anything below 24. I don't think. I'm not going to jump into that mess, but we have a lot of young people that need to be here. Of course, they're in school right now, but we need to reach out to them.
I do want to say too, I am grateful to the Morgan County Correspondent because they included information about the survey in at least 1 week's paper. It's good to get that out that way.
Thank you. So we've got a good list of priorities and things to do. We've got our marching orders from a good, respectable survey. It's not just us, it's them. Do we have any questions about this survey or responses? I have a question, I suppose, is where do we go from here?
Yeah. So I think Josh shared with you the list of potential work group members to help us develop the request for proposals.
Say that again. I didn't put my ears in this morning. I should have.
Yeah. So based on the
Oh,
findings of the
yeah.
survey, we pulled together a list of 13 work group members to help us put together the RFP and make decisions about our values as a work group and the scoring criteria, how we'll manage the grant timeline, all those kinds of things, which we already have a draft, very drafty draft, as Tricia Runningham would say, pulled together based on the Hendricks County RFP that they allowed us to use and build off of.
Well, I'm on the opioid settlement, and I'd like to be there, so I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Do we approve this list? Josh?
Yeah, I'd
we
like to
jumping
jump in
ahead?
real quick. Because, you know, these opioid funds for the public to know, and we're going to be getting this money for approximately 18 more years, which is one reason, you know, we decided to set this group up outside. We really wanted to focus on the positions, so you'll notice on this list we gave you, it's the entity that they represent, because we want to make sure we had a wide range of thoughts and perspectives, from enforcement all the way to advocacy. And so what I would recommend that you do today, if you're good with this list, approve it as you would, and Deb will put it on our appointment list, because no one's going to stay on this committee for 18 years. You're going to have to make new appointments, but it's a commissioner-led effort. So that's how I would do it. If you can make any modifications you want, but I would have your motion list out the names of the people. Normally when we appoint somebody, we go through their name. So since this is a big list, I would read it out the first time, and then I think annually we should just revisit it because people will turn over. That's my recommendation.
Well, there's 13 people that will be charged with looking at the opioid money, correct?
Right, prioritizing it and what they ultimately do is come back to you all with a recommendation. We vetted these are what we're asking you to spend the opioid funds on, but you all have to affirm that by ordinance.
Understood? So we need to approve this list.
Yes, that is my ask. If you guys are good with this list, I
I'm
would
good
read
with
out,
the list.
read out the individuals and approve them, and then,
In the form of a motion?
yeah.
So moved.
You got it, Kenny?
Second. He didn't read them out, but that's all right.
Well, you want to read them out?
I think Josh was wanting them read out.
Well, let's do that. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm on the list.
By position?
We'll give the people an idea on what. This is kind of an interesting list.
I'm like you, I'm like you, Kenny, I gotta go.
We have we have Eric Bolin of Morgan County, or I'm sorry, Martinsville Schools. Summer Brown of our Morgan County Emergency Medical Services. Kenny Costin, Mayor of Martinsville. Brian Foley, Morgan County Court Services. Josh Messmer, Morgan County Commissioners. David Rogers, Morgan County Jail. Tricia Runnigan of the Morgan County Health Department. Steve Soniga, Morgan County Prosecutor, Criminal Divisions. Elizabeth Stern, Guided Vision Consulting LLC, behavioral health consultant. Judge Dakota Van Llewellyn, Morgan County Courts, Superior Court 1. Justin White, Mount Gilead Church, who is the Recovery and Outreach Minister. Keely Wright, of the Kendrick Foundation Executive Director, and myself as the Commissioner. That's our list of 13, and it's going to be an interesting day when we get all 13 of those together, but it's but it'll be fun and very productive. And thank you. That's the list that we approved. Did we have the vote on that to approve it?
No.
We'll wait till Kenny returns.
Anticipation.
While we're waiting, do we have any questions from the audience on this opioid thing? I'm sorry, Gary?
Where can the public find this survey?
Keely? Can we put that on our county website? It's going to go on the county website, Gary. We'll put it someplace, probably put it up there in breaking news type of thing, so it draws attention to it, but I guess it would eventually go into the health department. But it might go into the commissioners, I don't know yet, but we'll talk about it. But we'll definitely put it on have people see this information needs to be public for everybody to look at and see what's going on. And we'll publish also where it's going to be with the correspondent, of course. So we'll make it visible. It needs to be. Yes. I'm sorry?
Can you come to the microphone, because nobody can
Yes.
hear you?
This is for Keely. The opioid settlement agreement.
I can't hear you.
The opioid settlement agreement, what's the total amount of funding that you guys receive from that? Okay. Okay, no, yes, it is. How about the indirect cost rate that you guys have on those funds? Do you have an indirect cost rate worked out yet? For administrative costs? Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah, there you go. Further questions? Now, we've had the names listed. Did we vote and then, did we already voted, then no, we haven't voted. Now it's
Just
time to
wanted
vote.
them read off individually, and we caved into Josh's wishes.
You make your life so much easier, though.
Yeah, but I will tell the public, contrary to my sensitive ego, I will not be in this position 18 years from now, I promise.
I'm not gonna promise nothing.
I'll be lucky to
I
be here
like
next
100.
week.
Sounds good to me. All right. All right.
Individually, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the opioid settlement funds work group as read off previously.
There we go. Motion been made for the list that was read, the opioid settlement funds work group. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I'm on the list, and I don't think it would be appropriate for me to prove myself, although I do. But we have, motion passed 2 with 1 abstention. All right. Next item on the agenda, we have and I didn't find it in that.
We're on a table, the cemetery access.
Oh, I'm sorry, I already skipped that because I thought we were going to table it on the cemetery access. What about the MOU for the EMS?
We need to, I'm gonna make the motion that we table.
Oh, yeah, we better get that tabled. Moved and tabled, ordinance 2024-14, cemetery access tabled. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0 to table it. Now, Summer, from our EMS, what's got?
I just have an MOU from Choices. They initiated it.
Can you get a little closer?
Yeah, I'm afraid to get too
I know
close.
it'll scare you, but I want everybody here.
Yeah, so just an MOU from Choices. It's more of a formality, just outlines like scope of work, data sharing, how we collect it, confidentiality. So part of our MIH program, we're working with them and making referrals to them for our overdoses, mental health, suicidal patients. They're doing follow-ups, calling them, coming to their houses, providing them with long-term resources beyond the 911 call or the ER visit. And we would like to be able to share data as far as what happens to them after we leave them. So that's a lot of what it is.
Well, I reviewed this, and I have a couple of questions. One is, I just want to clarify my understanding, which is that we're not actually paying anything extra for these services, correct?
Yep, they're a nonprofit nationwide organization that happens to be in Indiana. And they're like, if you call 988, Choices is who you deal with.
And in terms of what I noted in there, and normally some of the department heads will understand that I usually am on them about E-Verify language and not, non-procurement and so forth, but under this circumstances, we're not binding ourselves to them as exclusive providers of these services. It's really just kind of memorializing that we're going to agree to try to work with them on a plan.
Yeah, and I think for them, it's them tracking their resources that they're using just for us in these instances. So again, yeah, more of a formality for them to justify their resources.
Okay.
I couldn't find it.
See, when I don't talk, it gets real quiet in here.
You have any questions?
Kenny, do you have any questions?
Nope, she answered the one I had.
Brian Kyer makes the motion that we accept the MOU between Choice Coordinated Care Solutions, Inc., and Morgan County Emergency Medical Services.
Second.
Been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Yep, thank
Summer.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay. I think that takes care of new business, correct?
Correct.
Let's move to old business and tabled business. And first one we have is the 911 addressing, I think it's the second reading, correct? And we tabled it from last meeting, correct?
Tabled it.
Okay. Discussion.
Myself, I just think we need to do it, so I stated last time.
I was not really crazy about this ordinance, it's still not. I know it seems simple. We want to give addresses to businesses that are places that aren't businesses, like a barn someplace. And I actually favored the ordinance to some extent because of the safety reasons, but you know, if you fall down in a barn that doesn't have an address and you call 911, there was a concern that they couldn't find you. Well, I found out they can find you. Might take just a hair longer, but they can do it. With what's the name of that program, David? It's Duty. I don't know. It's a snazzy little outfit that if I'm out working along the field and the tree falls on me, like has happened to one of my friends, we could. What is it? Rapid response. Anyway, it was nice to know that wherever you are, we've got your back as far as safety, which would basically eliminate the need for an address as far as a safety thing. The problem of having the address, and I think the public probably should be aware, is that if you have an address, people can move an accessory structure and start living in it without permits. People be able to operate a business without proper zoning with an address. People with an address would be able to park their camper or an RV and set up a permanent residence, either inside or outside the structure. That's with an address. That's the can of worms that we are opening up. Now, part of the solution to that is that they have to apply for an address in written form, and that's in the ordinance. But just simply make that request to the planning and zoning, which may, and that's the key word, or may not, that's understood, but they may give that address. Obviously, from the reasons I just stated, they won't. There's no need because of those things that opened up. That's the way it's always been. The safety thing is taken care of with the duty, so I see no reason for this ordinance. I just simply say it's busy work for somebody to have to keep saying no, no, no. So that's one of the reasons I won't support it. So you can make a motion or you make comments.
My only comment's gonna be, you're saying that they won't assign it because it says May, Don, is that the?
Well,
one
why
I
would
just
they?
heard?
Why would they?
Because we care about people's lives and getting emergency services to them, and I'm not gonna go in detail like I did last time, Don.
Well, they can get the emergency vehicle. That's what I was pointing to. That can happen. So why would they?
I addressed all this last time, Don. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance to allow assignment of addresses of permanent accessory structures.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no, and I say no. Motion passes 2-1. Next item on the agenda is a request for the courthouse square. Oh, You can come up. I didn't realize you were going to be here. Good morning.
Yes, I'm here again this year. I'm sure everyone has seen the form. Are there any questions? Would you like me to go over anything? Pretty much looking to do exactly what we've done the last 2 years. So,
Any questions on it?
I don't know if we've provided barricades or the city has provided the barricades in the past.
someone has always set them out for us. It was you,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say, usually the city.
The
that's-
city
Yeah.
did the first year, I
I didn't
know
want to
that for
obligate
sure.
them, and I
Yeah.
didn't want, I
So
didn't know.
this year, there is a change, but it has to do with the city. We are actually closing off, you know how the fall foliage will do a diagonal closure at Washington and Main Street? We're going to be doing that at Jefferson and Morgan. So Morgan will be closed from Main to Jefferson. And so that's just going to allow us better access. We're going to have craft vendors there on Morgan Street, but it's going to make the area much safer too for families to be crossing back and forth. So I guess we might not need barricades there at Morgan Street, at the entrance into the courthouse at Morgan Street, but we definitely still will on Washington. And every year, we've had a little bit of problem with cars still being parked in the courthouse square, but we've always ended up working it out. But I was hoping maybe we could, I don't know if we need to close it a little earlier than what we normally do, or what you guys would recommend.
Putting up signage that you need to be moved by
Yeah,
a certain time.
Say that again.
Put up a sign that says all vehicles on the inner
Oh,
circle
yeah.
of the square need to be removed by, because I know a lot of them that rent and live upstairs are parking on the inner circle.
Right.
sometimes
put
there's
the
a few
signs up.
county vehicles in there as well, but those, you guys always get over there and get them moved pretty quick for us.
Is that being addressed, the signs?
Do we put the signs on the inner circle and the city puts them out on the street, or do we have Mac Porter put them everywhere for us? I think we'll coordinate with the city. I
All
mean,
right.
they ought to be unified, and I don't want to have one time on mine and one time on theirs, because then they'll all be confused and we'll all
True.
catch grief on that.
Yes, true.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions on this?
And you've gone in front of the city to close
Yes, yes, that has already been completed.
that power.
No, no.
Okay. Well, any other further questions? I'll entertain a motion then.
Kenny Hill makes the motion, we approve the Bobby Helms Jingle Bell Rock Christmas Spectacular and Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony on the Square for Sunday, December 8th, 2024, with the barricades up beforehand, and also notice to the locals that actually park inside there, so we don't have to have law enforcement come and run plates and get them removed.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for the use of the county courthouse square. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another thing here on appointments. Do we have anybody on the art council yet?
Yes, I got 3 names, if you'd like them.
I just need to, well, let's see, we already have, I have 3. I think you can take 3 more because I think it's supposed to be 7, or no, 5. Yeah, 5 for us and 2 for the council. And I have 3, but I think one of the 3 I can will go to the council, so we take the 3.
Nancy Maxwell, Katrina Marlin, and Ben Rollins.
Good, folks. What was the second one?
Katrina Marlin.
I don't know Katrina yet, but I think I'll learn to know her. Marley,
Marlin, like R.H. Marlin, and she's
Like-
married to Joe.
like my rifle.
She helped do the back mural wall there at Hotel Waverly Park, and
Good.
Sally Hedges did the front mural wall with a couple of ladies.
What these folks are going to be charged with for the rest of your information is that we're going to have some art in the called the Morgan Hall. It's going to be a big mural, 21 by 8. We also have hallways and designated areas for art in the new building. And it also will have some art in the, as we move down the line, there'll be some, the art structure, or art in the renovated courthouse. So it's not just us. These people will get together and kind of work on that. We needed artists and people that were familiar with the field to make sure we have a good presentation of that material. So we've got those nominees. Yes. My two people, they were previous meeting. We didn't put them on? We didn't vote for? I'm sorry. Well, it was Jeannie McLeish and, oh, jeez. Her husband, but it's not McLeish. And Steve Dodge, and I'll have to get that third name to you, because I have a Mark Burkett. I'm sorry, Mark Burkett, B-U-R-K-E-T-T, Jeannie McLeish, it's I-E, McLeish, and Steve Dodge.
The accountant in me says that we can pick 5, and that is 6.
Well, the sixth, that is going to be from the council.
Well, who are you kicking to the council?
Any one of those three, or that I mentioned. You can call it which one you want, but,
I'm not going to speak for the council, so.
well, I've already
I mean,
talked.
we can only vote on, we can only pick 5. Who do you want? Our 5 to be. We got 6 names, so we can only vote on 5 of them.
All right, take Mark off and I'll put him with the council. That'd be the simplest way of doing it. That work?
Need a motion.
And I'll talk to Kim about her too. I know we've already talked about one of them. She's already talked to that one.
Brian Collier makes the motion that we accept Ms. Maxwell, Mr. Rollins, Ms. Marlin, Ms. McLeish, and Mr. Dodge to be our representatives on the Art Council.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Get that all cleared up and we'll
Like
get those
mud. I'm
people-
on it today.
people together.
That's right.
And for the public and Keith, we welcome ideas on, they will welcome ideas. I'm sure that I'll be probably starting the first meeting with them on what we want to put in, on that mural, because we're going to start looking for an artist to put that together, and we want something that's going to be significant and long-lasting. So I'll be, anybody has an idea, be sure and share it with us or that committee. Any other further business for the, before we get to the speaker? Okay, we have a speaker. I want to reiterate, we have a 5-minute speaking time, so Ms. Nutter, or Ms. Nutter, I don't know. There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, I broke it again. First, I wanted to start with a really big thank you to our clerk's office, and the election office. They've been really wonderful to work with. Anytime we ask them for data, they provide it. They've just been really great and forthcoming. So people around the state of Indiana are allowed to go to their election clerk's office in their county and request voter registration data. And in April of 2021, 5.5 months after the general 2020 election, I did this. And that data represents a 10-year prior voting history with names, addresses, registered Democrat, registered Republican, and there's some information that becomes present when you're looking at this data that's interesting. So from 2016 general election to the 2020 general election, 8,135 Republicans who were registered as Republican voters dropped off. 1,508 registered Democrats dropped off and became, had a line item of unregistered. As of 2021, there were 8,074 registered Republicans that showed as voting in Morgan County. The difference is that in the 2016 election, there were 15,499 registered Republicans that showed as voting. The data reflects 26,059 no party affiliation voters voting in Morgan County. With no voter party affiliation, it creates a fertile ground for cyber changes and vote flipping software hacks. So the data that we found in April also showed 236, the number of voters that were registered, that the Indiana Secretary of State's office certified as voting in the 2020 election more than our county reflected voting. Now, the voter registration data changes as people move in and out of our county, but the number of voters who voted in the 2020 election should not change. There were 41 voters between the ages of 100 and 116. 25 showed as active voters in Morgan County. There were 6,282 active voters with no data history in the system at all, representing 17% of Morgan County voting population. And again, with voters with no data behind their names, it becomes ripe for cyber hacks. And since we've got an electronic system tallied by electronic equipment, there were 1,177 voters who are marked as inactive in Morgan County data who voted in the 2020 general election. Of these, 274 voters have no prior voting history. 529 of those inactive voters had prior history in every election in Morgan County. 8,355 was the total number of voters with no data history in the system, and this increased by 525 voters between April and September collection of this history. The most shocking is the one voter who voted in the 2020 general election who registered to vote in March of 2021 and was counted as a vote in Morgan County in our 2020 election. When we looked at their address, they were registered to a farm field in Quincy. I would commend Dawn on voting down adding addresses to no permanent residence, because it will make an already impossible process of cleaning voter registration rolls that much more difficult when you add addresses to these fields and farms and barns. Since at the last commissioners meeting, you guys already passed the bill to pay for the digital finding of citizens. What was that called? Well, and it's able to locate citizens based on no address information. I think that the ordinance that you just passed is going to come with a lot. It's going to make the clerk's office have a lot more work on their hands when trying to verify that voters are who they say they are when they voted.
You gentlemen have any questions? I have no questions either. I will make a comment briefly. Commissioners we don't run the elections. And the election board does. And they've got a Bible. It's about, I won't call it that. They've got they're run by the rules set by statute. If there's any problem with the rules, I think they would be the one that would be able to answer any concerns that the public would have. And they meet, and I'd share your information with them. That's all I would have to say about it. Anybody else for a speaker? Well, then we'll go to you've had your 5 minutes. I've told you what you can do with the information you shared. Do you have a question about that? That's not important with this thing. The clerk is by statute, the election board's by statute, and we've consulted with the state level, and everything's copacetic. Everything's where it ought to be. So we're not going any farther than that.
I'm gonna make one last comment. Stephanie, have you had any chance to dig and research and see how many addresses are not assigned to all the daggone campers, barns, everything out there that people's already taken advantage of?
I've only gone through about 250 lines of the 52,000 lines of data that we've got. And that's the one that I found that I can confirm. Others, they don't have viable phone numbers. There's people that don't exist. There's wrong names, wrong misspellings, so it makes it difficult to confirm. But there were several other that are on the list to check. That one is definitely confirmed, the farm field and West.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's been going on for years. I was plan director, started doing the 911 in 97, plan director in 04. We've always had problems, people daggone living in things, and I mean, it's worse now than what it ever has. You ought to take a daggone search and see how many you find of them, is all I can say. We're trying to find people that's valid, trying to do things the right way. Assigning addresses the proper way. That's all I care about is common sense, making sure we can get that ambulance to them as fast as we can. That's what matters to me.
Does that data go in with the voter registration data of the county though? If you assign an address to a barn, does that commingle within that where somebody could register to vote out of that address?
Address is gonna be picked up by the assessor, the 911, I mean, it's gonna be on Elevate, pinpointed, I mean, it's picked up. They're not hiding it. It's the other people that's hiding what they're doing.
I was gonna say, I'm with the sheriff as my witness. I would definitely not be good at crime. I talk too much, and anybody that comes to these meetings know this, but if I'm going to hide, I'm not gonna ask you to give me an address.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's my whole point on that. So if they register to vote on a barn, then that would have to be their residence, and if they're not, that's where we would catch them, because it's not, that barn is not zoned for a residence, so, no, I think it's more of a checks and balance than me just sticking my RV in the barn and living there. You can come on up front. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you for the work you do, you and the board. Tammy?
If a person only votes in the general election, they're not going to be a Republican or a
come forward. Everybody's shunning the microphone. I don't know how many online people we have, but they can't hear you.
I just wanted to mention that if a person only votes in the general election, they're not going to be designated as a Republican or a Democrat. I have people that only want to vote in the general, so I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, the only time you have to
Make a
tell
point.
which you are is in the primary.
Right.
Thank you, Tammy. Are we ready for the good of the county? Well, Kenny, you got anything you want to kick on?
We're getting ready to kick off the, I forgot how many years it is. I believe we're about 9 or 10 already. On Old Town Waverly Festival, the 4th weekend of September. Come on out, everybody. It's going to be a great time.
It is a good time, and I look forward to going out there and pushing the Lions Club breakfast on Sunday morning. So y'all come on Sunday morning. Biscuits and gravy will be there and served by myself and some of the other Lions of the, it's a great spot. Thank you for everything, and your parks, Kenny. They're so good.
Our parks.
Anything?
Was very blessed this Labor Day weekend to have an opportunity to be out on a lake, and was excited when I had a couple people that aren't from here that complimented how the area is changing and growing, and wanted to know what we were doing. So that's always a good conversation to have. It was all positive, so I don't take credit for that. We take credit for that, so thank you.
Thank you. And we had a couple we had the Paragon Homecoming. Keith, I didn't get to go see it. I should have, but I was cutting hay. But I appreciate the folks that were able to go to Paragon and enjoy their homecoming. Paragon's got a kind of a warm spot in my heart, simply from the event of the flood. I never saw so many people turn out to help each other like those people did down there in that neighborhood. They just got wiped out, and they just pitched in and got it done. And they are a celebratory bunch. So if you're a Paragonite, congratulations, and I hope you enjoyed your homecoming. Speaking of events, Monrovia, another close-knit community of helpful people. My cousin last year won the tractor. I don't know, they have a lottery, I guess you call it, and you pay $100 and get a raffle. It's a $100 raffle, and everybody pitches in, and then they give them a tractor, whoever wins. And my cousin, who's on the town board over there, Carol Youngblood, won the darn thing last year. I never put my name in it because I didn't have $100, but.
Oh, man. They say politicians lie.
Well, I had a tractor, I didn't need another one. You're a rat. So Monrovia Festival's next weekend, or this coming weekend, and a lot of good food, a lot of fun, and a parade, and a chance to win a John Deere tractor. I think that's about all I have, except I wish you all a nice August weather. I think we're in good for some good hay cutting and good enjoyable, get out and enjoy the parks. And what? September weather.
Don't want an Indian summer.
Well, I sure enjoyed this morning. It was beautiful out there. So with
I
that,
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
motion been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Oh, Kenny. What about the park? We got a park board?
On this, I